If this threat is, we see it over and over again, if it's going to keep going, well, you know what? We need to harden our schools and protect our kids. I've asked this question. I think we need to finally take a look at SSRIs. We need to look at these medications for anxiety and depression because, I mean, pretty much every single one of these shooters is on or off these meds.
Yeah.
I've also wondered about this particular shooter in Nashville. What medications were they taking? If they were transitioned, how much testosterone?
Right, that's going to open up a whole other set of issues.
Because testosterone creates aggression.
Yeah.
And if she's had too much in her body, how was that affected with SSRIs or whatever else? I think the American people deserve to know. I think
the right has backed itself into a corner when it comes to gun control, as their do-nothing approach becomes more and more violent itself with each new mass shooting in this country. Marjorie Taylor Greene, for one, is blaming the shootings on SSRIs, anxiety and depression medications, and testosterone treatment for gender health care. The scapegoat of mental health has truly replaced thoughts and prayers as an equally futile response to gun violence. Because even if we agree that the mental and emotional health of Americans is in the gutter, what do you plan on doing about it, Marge? Cutting social benefits, stigmatizing mental health treatment, slashing after-school programs like art and music that bring joy into students' lives. And even what she says about more protection for schools is ridiculous. Are you gonna vote to fund that training? It was just a few weeks ago that your buddies Matt Gaetz and Lauren Boebert said they literally wanted to defund the Board of Education.
I'm more in favor of abolishing the federal Department of Education and getting the federal government completely out of public schools.
The good news is that Gen Z isn't falling for any of this. As the first generation to experience mass shootings as a fact of life, they are well equipped with the statistics of gun violence as well as the capacity to understand the only way to prevent it. Gun accessibility, of course, is the biggest factor at play when it comes to mass shootings and other forms of gun violence. Owning or being in proximity to someone who owns a handgun raises a person's risks of becoming a victim of violent crime by a lot. And this includes things like violence towards children and domestic violence and suicide as well. That's why the solution can't be more cops or guards with guns. And it for sure isn't arming teachers, as many Republican legislatures want to do.
You know any teachers? They don't get paid to you met these people, they shouldn't have guns. Former teacher, I would never carry a gun to school. And I know how to use a gun and I own it. I would never carry a gun in front of my students. I loved my students. I would die for them, but I would not shoot them.
The Republican Party is failing the country when it comes to gun reform, and new young voters are not going to let them live it down. It's a remarkable time in which a generation raised on the ubiquity of mass shootings finally gets to have their vote heard at the ballot box. And let's just say it's not going to be pretty for the party that has continuously failed them on the gun control front. If you want to see more of my coverage on The Breakdown, stay right here. You can watch my latest video on Trump supporters abandoning the Donald in his time of need by clicking on the link in the description box below. Thanks so much for watching. You can follow me on all platforms at CaroJohnson917.